All right, let's go.
Welcome to Movie the Podcast. That's right, Movie the Podcast. It is the last week of America, and it's also the last week of the summer of speed. And we got to watch the Wachowskis' Speed Racer, 2 hours and 15 minutes of light and sound and stuff.
Yeah, it's
It
definitely
is
full.
We're
stuff.
going to talk about.
It is full of stuff.
It
A
is
lot of
chock.
stuff.
If there's anything that this movie is, it is full.
Yeah.
Of things.
Yeah. It is full of.
It is a
lot of-
movie packed with exuberant nonsense.
That's the box.
That kid and that monkey. God.
Oh my
Oh,
god.
they're the best part of the movie.
This
That's
movie is
my
like
favorite
neon. This
That's
movie's
my
like neon
favorite part of the movie.
precociousness. Like this movie is just.
I almost like. I want to say. It's almost the only part of the movie I like is the monkey and the kid because it's
Is
so
it better?
fucking-
Is this kid better than the kid from Dick Tracy? Because that's all I could think about.
1,000,000%.
Yes, this kid's actually got chops.
He does have
a
a monkey.
little too many chops.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll talk about it. But all the beef is in the barn.
Yeah.
With President accounted
Old
for.
barn beef.
Yep, we're all back.
Okay.
It's a full power episode. So what did you all watch this week? Alec, you weren't here last week, so you start.
Yeah, I watched in the course of the past 2 weeks. I've watched a bunch of stuff.
Hell yeah.
To varying degrees of goodness. Anchorman, that's still fun. There are some jokes that don't play anymore,
Yeah.
but it's still overall a fun romp for a movie solely based on sexism.
You know what's fun? I didn't like that movie the first time I saw it, but like I think the third time I saw it, I kind of sweetened on it a little bit.
Yeah, first time was not. I was like, "What's all the hype about?" But subsequent viewings, I definitely warmed to it.
What's all the hubbub, bub? We don't need to talk about that. I watched the Nicolas Cage masterpiece Con Air.
Hell
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
That movie is insane in the best way possible and stupid in the best way possible. And
Also
that
starring-
accent is horrendous in the best way possible.
What's it? Cameron Poe? Is that his
Cameron
name?
Poe.
Cameron Poe.
Cameron Poe.
I love that they like to make him. Or they had to make him a felon in the most patriotically like clean way they could ever make a felon in a movie.
Yeah. He killed a guy accidentally for assaulting his wife,
Yeah.
Yeah,
and he went to jail for like 10 years.
Well, they had to balance out that charming pedophile in Steve Buscemi.
oof.
Oh yeah.
The words charming and Steve Buscemi, everybody uses in the same sentence. Probably less frequently than charming pedophile.
Mm.
But that movie is ridiculous, and it's a blast. John Malkovich is unhinged. He's so good in that. Cyrus the Virus.
Yeah.
John Cusack is insane in that movie. Like, I don't know what he's doing, but like, it feels like he like snorted a pound of coke and was just like, let's do this shit.
I can't remember. Is he wearing a hat in that movie? Is that the beginning of Hat Cusack?
No, I think this is-
he's hatless. He's
That
sunglasses
wasn't,
the whole
that
time.
wasn't
though.
until a little later. That was you're talking about direct to Redbox Cusack.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. Yeah, he's
Is his hairline starting to go? So he's wearing
think
hats and
so.
everything now.
but also he's definitely he's in that Bruce Willis and Nick Cage kind of thing where he's just in these weird like tax shelter action movies. So he's like cast as like a special agent, and it's like Special Agent John Cusack.
Special, yeah, but he does steal. Was it Cole Meany's like Mazda Miata or something?
Oh, it's not a Mazda Miata. It's like a '64 Corvette
yeah,
with a license plate that says "As Kicker."
that's it.
And then he hooks it up to a
Isn't it-
cargo plane that like obliterates it, dragging it through the sky, and the car obliterates the air traffic control tower, and then the car disconnects and falls like 100 feet to the ground and is destroyed. But that movie's so fucking fun. Ving Rhames is great in it.
That's Michael Bay, right? Isn't it?
This Bruckheimer, right?
Oh,
Yeah, it's Bruckheimer. Bay did The Rock.
Oh,
Bruckheimer also produced The Rock, though, right?
I don't know.
I think
Maybe.
so. Yeah.
The dude Bubba Gump is really fun in it as his like diabetic best friend who needs his insulin or he's gonna die. The way they set up stakes in this movie is ridiculous. Dave Chappelle's in it. Dave Chappelle's in it
Oh, that's right.
for a little bit, and he lights a Native American on fire to cause a distraction.
I think
And
that
then
was,
later on, the Native American is fine, and he joined the bad guys, even though they lit him on fire as a distraction like an hour earlier.
Well, if you can't beat him.
I think that was Chappelle's first movie.
Is that right?
Maybe.
No idea.
I'm not sure.
Nah, he was in like You've Got Mail. He's been in bit parts of movies forever.
Yeah, that movie's fun. For those who haven't seen Con Air, check it out. Watch The Girl Next Door. That's a okay little mid 2000s sex romp.
Is that also Emil Hirsch?
Yes.
Oh, that's the one with Elsha Cuthbert, and she's like a porn star. That one?
Yeah.
Is that? Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
It's fine. Timothy Oliphant's in it, and he's really good. I really like
Love
Timothy
that dude.
Oliphant.
Me too.
Like, he should be in way more stuff. He's really good in everything he's in. He was even good in that fucking Hitman movie.
Yeah,
yeah.
That it was. Yeah, it was awful, but it wasn't his fault.
He's great and Justified. That shit rules.
I haven't watched that. I've heard nothing but really good things about it, though.
Him and
I
Walton
think
Goggins are great in that show.
I think
Yeah.
it's all on FX's like Hulu. No, I think it's all on there.
But that movie's fun. It's fine. It's not great, but it's fine. It's a perfectly cromulent way to spend an hour, an hour and a half on. It's like a risque TBS movie. Like I don't know that you catch it on TBS until like 10 o'clock on a weekend.
Yeah, it's weird because it's I remember seeing it, but like it's about like porn, and there's like nothing even resembling nudity in that movie. It's like we can't. It's like what did we watch a couple weeks ago? Where it was Morbius, where there's just like a vampire movie with no blood. It's just like what? It's kind of weird.
Was she actually doing porn in it, or is it just infer? Like, she's like an easy A where they're just saying she's doing it?
No, she actually
is a porn
star.
she actually is a porn star. And
Got it.
Yeah.
She moves next door to like watch her aunt's house or something, and also stop doing porn. But
Drugs implied.
yeah,
She's like what's her name from American Pie, Ostriker's girlfriend, who had that like really big like late 90s, early 2000s career, Alicia Cuthbert, and then just I don't know if she's done anything since.
I think she's on some like TV show now.
Mina
but yeah.
Suvari, is that who I'm thinking of?
Yeah.
Was she
Mina
from
Suvari.
American Beauty? Yeah.
I think Alicia Cuthbert was in that show Happy Endings, and that ran for a while,
Yeah.
if I'm thinking correctly.
I'm thinking of Alicia Duck Shoes. What's her name?
Dushku.
Elijah Dushku.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, she did.
Dark Angel.
She didn't do much.
Oh, wait, no,
Elijah, the Cuthbert one has one of my favorite jokes in Old School, where she fucks Owen Wilson, and then he goes to see his boss the next day, and he realizes that it's his boss's daughter, and he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I thought you said high school." I did, and then she's like, "Sorry." Good God. Good movie.
That is a good movie.
It's a good one.
That one holds up too, except for a couple of lines right at the beginning.
Oh yeah, which is a joke that I love.
Yeah. Well, what do you suggest? Do you talking about that exchange?
Yes, that joke is so like. I'm sorry, but that joke is really funny.
It's delivered very well.
Yeah.
I watched a movie, a Netflix original Mock Wahlberg movie, Spencer Confidential.
Oh, that's the one with Post Malone, isn't it?
Yeah, he's only in it for like a minute. Mark Wahlberg, Alan Arkin, Winston Duke, Bokeem Woodbine's in it.
Oh, love him.
Who's Winston Duke?
He played M'Baku in Black Panther.
Oh, okay.
That guy's great.
That guy's awesome. And he was the father in
Us.
Not Get
Us.
Out. Yeah, Us.
Okay, yeah, I know exactly what you're talking.
And that movie's fine. Like, it wasn't great, but the action sequences were fine in it. I mean, you know what you're getting with Mark Wahlberg. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
you know what kind of performance you're getting.
Are you gonna watch that movie where he's like a criminal turned priest or something? Like, it looks.
I don't even know what you're talking about, so probably not.
Yeah.
And finally, I watched a movie I hadn't seen in a while, and realized watching it, maybe I had never seen the whole thing. The follow-up to Goodfellas, My Blue Heaven.
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
I've never
I
seen
like-
that.
That movie
like that
is
movie a
it's a
lot.
lot of fun. Steve Martin and Rick Moranis are both so fucking good in that movie.
Yeah.
They're so, and Joan Cusack, all three of them, like they have a really good chemistry together, and it's just like perfect. The movie's a lot of fun, and I was reading about it. Apparently, the actual Henry Hill got pissed off about like how accurately they portrayed some of the stuff. Like they got like notes from people and things, and there's like some like lines in there that are actually like word for word conversations he had.
Yeah,
But
I
Steve
remember,
Martin's delivering it like Steve Martin, not seriously.
Yeah, I remember. Obviously I knew the Hill from Goodfellas, but he used to be like a frequent guest on the Howard Stern show, and it kind of like. I was like, oh, he's not as cool as like Ray Liotta, like at
But
all.
like for being in hiding, he's very fucking not in hiding.
Well, he's dead now, I think.
He's dead
Like
now.
all those mob guys got YouTube channels. Sammy the Bull Gravano's got a fucking YouTube channel now. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That movie's fun though. Like they're all so good. Like all three of them are so good together. Like I loved watching it and revisiting it. Apparently, it went into production with Steve Martin in the Rick Moranis role and Arnold Schwarzenegger in the Steve Martin role.
Oh my God.
And like they started production with that, and then Arnold dropped out for some reason, and Rick Moranis became available, so Steve Martin took over the gangster role, and they were able to get Rick Moranis to come in and do the FBI agent role. And like I can't imagine that.
God,
movie.
I want to see that movie with Arnold in it.
I mean, I'm sure it would have been fun.
You can't unscrew a pregnant woman.
What's the difference between a pregnant woman and a light bulb? But man, I really loved that movie, and it's something I need to rewatch more frequently. It's got the old guy who plays the uncle in Christmas Vacation. Can't remember his name.
Oh, that guy was in like a ton of stuff back in the day.
Yeah, he's always
the blasting that guy.
Yeah,
that guy.
Yeah.
He owns like the pet store in this, and he's a mobster. And they find out that they all when they put him in witness protection, they send him all to the same town in like Arizona. So then they start their own mob out there in Arizona, ripping off trucks and reselling the stuff. It's really good. It's a good movie. But yeah, that's all I watched. I just finished watching Community like 10 minutes ago. Finished the series finale. That show was really good for a while.
You smashed through that whole thing, huh?
It's not long. The first couple of seasons are full. This last couple are only like 10 or 12 episodes. And they all stick to that like 22-minute format. But it's really good. Like the first 4.5 seasons are great, and then it kind of dips a little bit. But I still enjoyed it. Dan Harmon and those Russo brothers, they're some talented people. And I'm not quite up to date with The Boys. I'm an episode behind on The Boys.
I haven't even started. I need to watch that.
Yeah, same.
So far it's really good.
I've heard it's very good.
The first however many episodes I've watched, I'll catch up on this most recent one tomorrow. But there's a whole bunch of shows that I really want to watch. I just haven't had time.
Yeah.
Miss Marvel's out there. I haven't watched any of that, which like I'm very surprised. What else? Something else. Oh, Umbrella Academy came out last week.
Oh yeah,
I
yeah.
haven't watched that yet.
God, I still haven't watched the second season of that, and I love the first season.
There's so much
There's just
stuff.
too much stuff.
Yeah,
But
it's too much tuna.
I'll catch up on it all at some point. Gogs.
I watched three things.
Three things.
And before I get into it, I had a weird observation because my kids have been very hooked on Jumanji, the rock version. And that movie is basically just Tropic Thunder for children, if you think about it.
I've never seen it, so elaborate, please.
It's just people put into the roles of other people in a jungle trying to figure out what they should do as the fake people, but the PG version.
I see.
A lot of fun, though. Just a dude trying to be a dude.
I really want to hear Jack Black's. I'm just a dude playing a dude who's dressed up as another dude.
And Jack Black's in both of them, actually.
Oh yeah, I didn't think about that.
So, three things I watched. I ended up committing to the bit, and I watched that Emil Hirsch Force of Nature movie with Mel Gibson, where they're escaping a hurricane in Puerto
isn't
Rico.
That the one that was like the most racist movie ever, or something?
Yeah, it wore it on its sleeve. It's
more
terrible.
racist than dragged across concrete.
Oh,
my God.
It's real bad. Like, it's just a trash movie, and I hated every minute of it. But we got through it, so you don't have to.
Who'd you make watch it with you?
Well, just the royal me.
Oh,
My wife had to deal with me just sobbing uncontrollably.
Did you create your own like invisible friend
Yeah,
to dump some of the emotions from watching bad movies on?
yeah. I just sort of sit.
that's a movie right there.
It's just
I like
it's just a
that.
pillow with a visor and glasses that sits next to me, and I scream at it.
He has
softer
Goges
gogs.
Goges written on his chest.
Be better. No, so I hated it. And then this will come as maybe a shock, maybe not. I don't know. I had never seen The Exorcist before,
Wow.
so I watched The Exorcist.
What did you think?
It's a masterpiece.
It's
like
amazing.
really amazing. I don't know if they could. I've never seen, frankly, anything that sort of towed the line between being like a truly, actual ghost horror story that tries to like rein it into psychological, like science based stuff. I don't know. It's really just brilliant. The third act is nuts, and the effects in that movie for the time are just.
Which version did you see? Did you know?
I don't. Whatever was on Netflix.
Oh.
I don't believe it was the director's cut.
Because they
whatever.
re-released it. I saw it in the theater when they did the director's cut like years ago.
Did it have the spider walk down the stairs?
I don't believe so.
Okay, that's the original version then.
Because
the quote version you weren't supposed to see is like the re-released version, and I thought that was kind of like the de facto version they put out there nowadays. But if it didn't have the spider walk, then it's probably the original theatrical version.
I don't think.
You would have remembered.
Okay, then
Yeah.
no.
I was dating a girl that lived in D.C. and we went to Georgetown and I ran up the Exorcist steps and did the Rocky thing at the top and she didn't laugh and I was like, "Fuck you!"
Oh yeah,
Just keep running. But no, it's
that one's not even worth it. Just push her down those steps.
Right.
What an amazing. I mean, it was amazing. I'm shocked I hadn't seen it up until this point, and it's unnerving. It's a cool fucking film.
It's like one of the few movies I find.
Have you seen Exorcist 3?
Unnerving.
No, I've not seen Exorcist.
You gotta watch Exorcist 3 with your favorite actor.
Didn't we watch The Exorcist 3 on the show?
No, we watched The Omen 5 or something.
Oh.
Resident Devil.
Which favorite actor?
Who wasn't even a president?
I know. What a rip.
George C. Scott
is the lead in Exorcist 3. And Patrick Ewing.
Hell yeah, we need George C. Scott month. And then the last thing I watched, thanks to the delightful Shredder's Revenge game, my kids are willing to accept the love and embrace of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So we watched the original 1990 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie, and I am going to put it on Front Street.
Did it terrify your children?
It did. They were a little unnerved by the costume.
Were they more unnerved by the costume or the hot gothic southern fuck scene? That
there's a shoulder rub scene that's a little risque.
That movie is wild.
That movie is wild. I was thinking about it, though. I was like, because we just watched.
Because it takes a fucking a half an hour detour into Mississippi Masala. Like, it's nuts.
Yeah. But I was like, this might be one of the. I don't know if I can objectively watch that movie because I loved it as a kid, and turns out I still love it as
Sam Rockwell show.
I popped when I saw Sam Rockwell. I popped when I saw Elias Koteas. I popped I was just popping all over the place. But it was yeah. It was like a Gallagher show. But you gotta this is we've seen cartoons adopted into actual movies a lot. We just
also
watched a movie. Oh yeah, that too. Yeah, adapted. You can adapt, kids. But I think that first Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie was brilliant. It still holds up. I still remember all of the lines. It still legitimately made me laugh at parts. Some of the jokes were still hokey, but some of them were still pretty funny.
The other two movies
it's really well done. And it's when you think about it, I think those suits weighed 75 or 90 pounds. And whatever stuntmen were in there were doing legitimate non-wire work karate.
It's incredibly serious for the movie versus the cartoon.
Very serious.
Well, it's the comic. It really is. That first movie is more of an adaptation of the comic book because it's the same story. They kill Shredder at the end and the whole thing. It's pretty close to
for a long time. It was the highest grossing independent movie ever made.
Yeah, that's wild.
Independent movie?
Yeah.
New Line made it. Well, New Line's independent, I guess. What were you saying? You had a question, Alan?
Oh, is that line in it? His shell went soft. That really stupid. Is that in the first one or the second one?
No, it was not in the. No, but this one did have one problematic.
The second one where Leonardo gets the shit kicked out of him.
Oh yeah.
And then they're like, "Oh, his shell went soft."
There is one problematic line in this one where.
He says,
Donatello, not all the dams. The dams are tremendous. Damn! But there's a part where Donatello accuses Elias Koteas of being claustrophobic, to which Elias Koteas says, "Hey, I've never even looked at another guy."
That's a very good joke.
I mean, that's not bad.
It's not. And then he goes sleep in the truck. That movie's a ton of fun. So it's on HBO.
It's funny because after that one is super dark and weird and violent, and they were well, the next one we got to make it silly, and they don't do any weapon. They had no weapon combat and all this other dumb shit.
The second one was a lot more prop fighting and silliness, and then the third one is just third one is very much
Turtles in Time.
It's very much Back to the Future Part 3. It's just screw it. Let's just put them in samurai time.
What's the title? Secret of the Ooze is
that's the second one. The third one is just called Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3. The game is called Turtles in Time. That's one of those classic boners.
Really? Oh,
yeah.
Okay. Well,
because they do go back in time.
Oh, they certainly do.
Oh yeah, Secret of the Ooze was the second one because that's why they got Super Shredder and
Super Shredder shows up.
Toka and Razor.
Instead of Bebop and Rocksteady, which made me furious as a child. I was why? And
I think the third one was also where they didn't have the whole Splinter puppet, or it was too expensive, so they just shot him from the waist up behind tables and shit.
I wish they shot him from the waist down.
But they did have a lot of Tarzan Boy Baltimore money for the third one, which was a lot of fun.
Let me ask you a question.
But that's everything I watched.
I made it funny.
It just turns into a triumph insult comic dog.
And then he gets arrested in the Capitol.
Well, that wasn't the dog, it was the guy. I was making fun of Kevin Smith, my dad, the other day. He's like, I thought you liked Kevin Smith. So I was like, do I like Kevin Smith? So I went back and watched Chasing Amy, a movie I would have told you was good, and it sucks. It is not good.
Not good.
No, it's really bad. And the core conceit that Ben Affleck converts Joey Lauren Adams is real fucking weird. Kevin Smith, for being Mr. like sensitive ally, has these weird gay hang-ups. I think me and TJ, when we watched Red State?
Yeah.
It shows up a lot in there, and it's just like the movie, like it's way too Kevin Smithy. Like it's just too many quips, too like the dialogue's all like super unwieldy. The what's a Nubian, that's still funny, but like it's not worth the other 2 hours of the movie for that part.
I mean, at this point, do we think Clerks or Mall? I haven't revisited Clerks or Mallrats in forever. And now
I think
I'm a little scared too.
Clerks is probably still good.
I've watched Mallrats in the last like few years. I thought it was still funny.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did somebody watch Dogma recently?
I
No.
would think Dogma probably holds up.
Not recently.
But yeah, Chasing Amy's like fucking awful. Like, and
That
like
was
I
always
love
my
that
least
movie.
favorite.
Really?
Honestly, that was always my least favorite. Like of that, like say those first four. I guess let's say Clerks, Dogma, Chasing Amy, and Mallrats. It was always my least favorite.
See, Mallrats was always my least favorite when I was younger.
See, that's funny because that's the one I probably watched the most because I had that. This was back. This is another one of my like. Remember when DVDs came out? Because I had the Mallrats like special edition DVD, and it was like super expensive. And I remember like I watched it like I watched every like special feature on it. I watched it with a commentary, like
we
stuff that I think about now, and I'm like, I would never do that. We were starved for content back then.
Yeah, but I think Mallrats was the one I saw last at all those. So I was like, oh, this isn't like real art, like Chasing Amy. Like it sucks.
Well, Clerks is black and white, so that's the artistic one.
That's Kino for sure, and it's in the Criterion Collection, I think. And so Chasing Amy might be also best part of Chasing Amy. I think is the Mike Allred drawings that are in it.
Yeah, also, Chasing Amy also has Mike Allred in the movie. And he says, I love Chow Yun-Fat, but I don't think he'd be a great madman, which I remember when I saw that, I about lost my mind. I was like, oh my God, somebody's referencing Chow Yun-Fat.
It also might have much. Like, the worst like title drop in dialogue in where Silent Bob's like, ever since then, I was just chasing Amy. It's like, oh no, like that. Oh, that's
Did he also did he look at the camera and wink while he was saying it?
Yeah, that's why I must become Superman for the quest for peace is like the funniest Family Guy joke. That's all I watched. TJ.
I watched one thing, and one thing alone. I watched the new Blumhouse Scott Derrickson, friend of the show, Scott Derrickson.
Oh yeah,
Joe Hill film,
the African American phone.
Yes, the Black Phone, El Fono del Negro.
You were actually very close.
I wouldn't the adjective.
That would be the phone of the black.
Yeah, you wouldn't have the Del. It would just be Telefono Negro.
Yeah. Anyway, this movie is the definition of just like mid. It is so just like it's not terrible, but it's just like painfully generic, and there's nothing like. I don't know. It's really frustrating because there's these like strings of a better movie in there that like they could pick up and do something with. Like, there's a pretty graphic scene of like parental abuse in the movie, and
is
then
it
later on
tied to Sinister or something like the snuff films that are in, or whatever the Ethan Hawke one.
No, this is like. I mean, I don't think so. If it is, they don't.
Isn't Ethan Hawke in this too?
Yeah, how is he in this? I was going to ask.
He's good. I mean, he doesn't really have much to do.
How's the phone?
The movie. So the problem with the movie for me is that like, it's just generic. Like again, it's just generic. Like this guy that's called the Grabber is terrorizing this town by abducting these children, and they don't know what's happening to these kids. And then the main kid that we're aligned with gets abducted, and he's trapped. And I mean, I feel like it's a movie you've seen 1,000 times. And we've talked a lot about things on the show, or if it just shows up in a movie, it just like it has to overcome a lot to get over your initial like repulsion of the trope. For Sean, that's magic. For Gogs, that's creativity.
Hey,
but no, like Sean hates magic, and I hate psychics. I fucking hate them. It's the laziest trope in a horror movie.
I'm gonna point of order. You hate psychics in Western movies because you love that shit in Takashi Miike, where somebody's a psychic for no reason.
Yeah, but there's
That's
also like a
correct.
talking dog and like yeah. I mean, it's a little bit different. I mean, in Takashi Miike movies, you have mob leaders that are trying to grow new mobsters, and I mean, there's a little bit there's different rules in those things. But in this, it's like, you know, I said it on Facebook. It's like, well, you might not know Joe Hill was Stephen King's son because he doesn't share his last name, but you sure would know from his fucking writing tropes. Like Stephen King loves that shit too, and it's just like.
It's just a punch-out ending, like.
Well, it's just we got this murderer, and like we don't know how to solve it. So like the little girl, the boy's sister, is like a psychic, and it's just like, oh, God. And then like the thing is, like the crux of the movie is like it's kind of it's more than kind of. It's very supernatural. Like the titular black phone is in where Ethan Hawke keeps the kids before he murders them, but it's like unhooked from the wall, but the kid that's still alive, the main character kid, the phone rings for him, and it's the dead children that Ethan Hawke has killed, and they try to like help him formulate a plan to kill Ethan Hawke, and it's just dumb. It's just boring, and again, like I hate the movie because like I really thought that they were going to do something kind of interesting with the movie. Again, there is like a very extended and disturbing scene where the main character's sister gets like whipped by her father, and then later on in the movie, the Ethan Hawke character, you find out that like he baits the kids like that he tortures into like getting like basically to like try to escape, because in his twisted mind he's like punishing them for being bad. And I'm like, and also like these kids in this town are like crazy violent, so I thought like maybe you're trying to make some kind of like circular violence kind of narrative, or like, you know, there's something more than what there was, but nothing there at all. It's a big nothing. There's like this drop line where Ethan Hawke is talking about the black phone, and he's like, well, it was down here when I was a kid and it didn't work either. So I thought maybe there was going to be more to like Ethan Hawke's character, or like there was some, you know what I mean? There was something more to him than just this weirdo that wears a mask that looks like Willem Dafoe with devil horns. But no, he's just deranged, and it's just like yawn. Like,
is it better than Doctor Strange 2?
I mean, yeah, because it's a lot shorter, but
okay,
it's pretty short. It's only like an hour and 20 minutes long. But I mean, it's just, again, it's not terrible, but it is like a 5 all the way. It is like a movie that'll be on like, you know, Netflix in like no time. It's just very.
IGN gave it a 9, so go fuck yourself.
Are you fucking kidding me? They gave
no,
this
not at all.
9. Oh my! God. Are they out on their minds? It's so just.
And they gave Crimes of the Future like a 7.
Yeah, of course.
Maybe
yeah.
I'll love it.
It's just. I mean, it's again like, I don't know, if you like old Stephen King movies that you've seen 1,000 times, you might like it. I don't know. I was expecting a lot more from it. I will say that I thought that the main character's sister, like, it's full of kid actors and they're varying quality. This one kid that's supposed to be like the tough, like, karate kid in the school is like painful. There's a scene early on in the movie, and his dialogue, he's so bad at acting, and I felt bad for him. But the main character's little sister is very good in the movie. I see a bright future for her. She's very good. The main kid's pretty good. Ethan Hawke is good. I mean, he's basically playing like a Joker character. But other than that, it's just kind of bleh. Like it's totally forgettable. I'll forget this movie exists in a week. Like, it's just.
RogerEbert.com gave it a perfect score.
Are you kidding me?
Yep, 4 stars.
Okay. All right. Well, who am I to argue with IGN and Roger Ebert's Ghost? Like, I don't know. Also, there's a lot of like dumb logic stuff in this movie, and I know it's a horror movie, and I should kind of get over that kind of stuff. But so at one point in particular, he's able to get out of the house, the kid, and they live in this small town. There's like houses everywhere. It's this tiny little community. Run to one of the other houses immediately. Well, what does he do? He just like runs in the street, and Ethan Hawke gets in his van and tracks him down. It's like, what? Like that's, and then there's a like point later in the movie where he eventually mounts a counter attack to Ethan Hawke, and he fills the titular phone with dirt that he like whacks him in the head with. But he has a toilet with a goddamn lid on it. Yeah, how heavy those things are.
Yeah, he's just a kid.
Yeah, but he picks it up and uses it to like break into a wall. So it's like
I watched Boondock Saints. I know that getting hit with the toilet lid's just like getting stomped on by some huge fucking guy.
But I refuse to acknowledge that. But anyway, yeah, I did not care for it. But that's it for me. I didn't watch anything else. I think that's everything.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, now we get into our feature presentation. The Wachowskis Speed Racer. Matcha Go-Go.
Dogs.
Yeah, what the hell happened in this movie? Good luck. Good luck.
Here we go.
I was out of breath in the first 5 minutes of this movie. Like they dumped so much shit at you, and it's just like, what
this
the hell?
movie is.
I texted TJ and I said this movie should have won an Oscar for most ants in the pants of any movie because it could not sit still for 10 seconds. I love
this
it.
This movie is Dan Flash's levels of visually confusing.
The movie is fucking not even visually, guys, but like storytelling wise. They're like looping back. They're going back and forth and back and forth and back. It's like, what the fuck?
I don't have any affinity for, or I've never even seen the original show, so I can't.
That is amazing to me. You should have watched some. It's fun.
I mean, whatever. Was it like the A-Team? I liked the A-Team.
No, it's kind of like this. Actually, this was a pretty faithful adaptation.
Well, it seemed like it would have to be. So
it's like Johnny Quest.
It is a lot like Johnny Quest. The movie's a very faithful adaptation of literally every single episode of the show crammed into 2 hours.
So it felt like, so I'm just going to say this. It felt like the Wachowskis were trying to make their Dick Tracy and just failing miserably. Like, that's how it felt to me for the entire 2 hour and 15-minute affair.
I'd agree with the whole Tracy comparison,
The whole time I was watching it, I was thinking, this movie walked so that Scott Pilgrim could run.
That's a wow.
Yeah, you know what? Like, I appreciate about this movie, and I want to get it right out on Front Street, where, like, a movie with a lot of CGI, I'll be like, let's try and make it real. They were like, this movie looks fake, and we should make it look even faker somehow. It's like both, like, visually captivating and impossible to watch at the same time, because your brain can't... Yeah.
I'm glad I didn't see this in a theater, because I don't know if my brain could handle it.
Dude, I watched it on the projector, and I was just like, oh, no.
You know, honestly, you might have lost something watching it on the projector.
Yeah,
it was too busy. There's too much.
It was super vivid. On
This movie took a United 93 right into the uncanny valley. It's amazing. I've never seen anything like it.
My timetable might be a little off, but I think this was in that slate of like weird CGI backlot movies, like Sky Captain, Tomorrow, Sin City. There was another one, Sky Captain and the World of Tomorrow.
Dude,
this was 2008, and I think Sin City was also 8.
Yeah.
This makes Sky Captain the World of Tomorrow look like the Bride of Frankenstein. Like, it's like insane what this movie looks like.
And you could tell there are parts where like somebody was probably like, we should clean this up a little bit. Like, fuck that.
No, just add more shit into it.
Just put a little more shit in. Nobody will notice. Just let it roll.
More wipes, more transitions.
Is it cheaper to clean it up or just to throw a few more things on there? Well,
this movie
technically to throw some more CGI people in there. We'll do that then. Nobody will know.
This movie looks like it cost $1 billion. It looks like it looks like a fucking MySpace page came to life. Like
it looks like it cost $1 billion or like 50.
Right. At the same time, it looks like a Tim and Eric bit. Like stuff just sort of like
there is definitely like
together. Like they just they just made like a still of Emile Hirsch and just sort of slid it across the top of the background. Like
while they were sliding all the race announcers past him in the background.
Like everything just slides.
Oh my god, the weird I'm gonna call it like assembly line cuts. Like it's like, he's going speed race going around the track, and it's like
that old
left,
thing.
right, up, down. They look like a video toaster fucking screensaver.
It was like, are they set up Hollywood squares to watch this thing? Like, what is
Have you ever
going
heard
on?
that like wives' tale, or I don't know if it's a wives' tale, maybe it's actual science. Gog, you're the expert on the science, but like that if a shark stops moving, it will die immediately. That's this movie.
I believe that to be true. I don't know it to be true, but deep in my heart of heart, I want it to be true.
The
So
word
yes.
movie has never been so apropos in
Yeah, it
anything
leaned into
we've
the mood.
watched.
Well, anyway, so here's what happens in this thing. You are introduced to young Christian named Speed Racer. That is his God-given,
Canonical.
yes, canonical name.
Because John Goodman is just such a big fan of speed.
Right. But he also named his older son Rex, and guess what he gets into? A Rex. And then he's now dead. And his youngest son
the fucking reveal at the end of the movie is so good.
Oh. What's the other son? What's the son with the monkey's name? Just
Spritle.
Right? Is that a car part? Like, I don't know what that means.
I assume it just meant like a even smaller sprite.
So
there's Chim Chim.
So there's Chim Chim and Sprite Racer. You've got Speed Racer, who is just Spritle Racer. Excuse me.
And I'm pretty sure John Goodman's Christian name is Pops, which is fortunate.
Yeah, it's Popovich Racer. So
they changed it when they got to Ellis Island.
So Pops Racer is married to Susan Sarandon and her tremendous cans, and they have made these 3 children and a monkey, presumably, and an Australian mechanic. And
Speed Racer's girlfriend, who also lives in their house, apparently,
and has a helicopter. So they
canonical.
Also, this is just for Sean, but Christina Ricci's aggressively, her aggressive Euro hairstyle, really works.
And and her anime eyes, I think her eyes are just that big normally.
Yeah, she came rolling in here looking like Ooh La La from Space Channel 5.
I'm not gonna lie, I think Christina Ricci's my favorite part of this, just because of how hard she leans into it and how well she sells it.
She's pretty good in the movie, I have to say.
Anywho, they live in this house garage, and Speed Racer cares about one thing and one thing only: going real fast. And also crashing, according to the little flip books he makes in his math homework.
Yeah.
He wants to go see his brother, race around in a circle, and so he does so. And he lets his brother breaks. I don't know how the laws in this work, because the racing is also sort of a death race situation where you can just take each other out willy-nilly, but not
F-Zero.
Until the end of the movie, where you find out there's one
the spear tether is not allowed. Yeah, but everything else. So, but everybody's going all flippity gibbets, spinning their car, hip checking each other. Rex Racer lets Speed go around in the Mach 4 at this point, or maybe the Mach 1, who knows. Speed's addicted to speed, which tracks given his name. So then it's all about Rex Racer. Rex Racer out here just getting it done, just slaying it, until one day he turns bad, maybe for sponsors, maybe, and he becomes kind of the bad boy of racing. He's like, who is that guy who did the Home Depot racing and would run everybody into
Tony
walls?
Stewart.
He was the Tony Stewart of this dimension.
That's the second time that's come up this week.
Tony Stewart
Weird
was going off doing amateur races, literally killing people.
Didn't he the guy that ran over the guy on the track, and then he was well, he shouldn't have gotten out of the car.
He's like the Ahmed Johnson of NASCAR.
Huh?
Didn't Ahmed Johnson kill a guy? Who's the guy that brain busted somebody to death?
Are you
thinking of D'Lo Brown?
D'Lo Brown, excuse me.
That was an accident.
Yeah.
He also didn't kill him. He's still alive. He just paralyzed
him.
Oh,
yeah.
Never mind.
Now he's a reaver. He's got one of those fucking bone breaker wheelchairs with the treads and shit.
Good old Draws.
Draws, yeah.
Oh, he's like the guy from fucking Twisted Metal with the arms for wheels. So
Axel.
now,
how could you forget his name? He literally is.
He is the Axel. So Rex Racer is doing his thing, and they're racing in the Gumball 3000 or whatever it's called, and he's going through the ice caves of Hoth and explodes, and everybody's like, "Oh no, that's sad."
Well, pause. This explosion, when these cars exploded, is an extinction level event, Holocaust explosion.
It looks like the fucking when Neo Tokyo explodes.
Yeah, it's like they cross the streams in Ghostbusters. It's bad.
Yeah.
It's total protonic reversal. So now Pops is sad, Speed is sad, presumably the monkey is sad, But then Pops and Speed watch an old movie about racing that they know the outcome, and then they cheer over it. And now Speed Racer's a racer again. So Speed Racer's out here racing his things, and he's an independent racer. And I don't know how they're paying for any of this. And they're trying to
winnings,
I guess, but they're recruiting sponsors. And then you meet Lord Edgerton, and he's like, "Hey, come to my factory planet, and I'll show you around." And they have like a cloning vat where they're making new racers. And they're assembling all sorts of cars, and he's trying to tell them how much he loves racing. And then Speed's like, "I appreciate it, sir, but I don't want to join your cabal of race people." And then he's like, "Well, too bad, because this is how we manipulate the stock market."
Pause real quick, dogs. As they're taking this tour, there are literally like hundreds of people zooming by in segways at like breakneck speeds.
Yeah, like this is a reference for no one, but if you've seen the Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs 2 movie, where they go to the Invigoron or whatever plant, it's a lot like that.
It's certainly not Invigoron.
LiveCorp. So he's there, and he reveals his sinister plot of every race ever, because
the economy in this world is fucking insane.
It's just everything is racer based. It's the only thing that matters. It's the linchpin for the entire democracy that they are part of. It is so we're treated to a Trade Federation-esque embargo of Naboo level economic plot. Like
there's a lot of the prequel movies in this.
They also live in like a neon dystopia, but a pastel neon dystopia.
It's like if Chutes and Ladders and Blade Runner had a kid. Like, it doesn't make sense. But this is what they live in. It's like F-Zero. What's the PlayStation equivalent of F-Zero? Wipeout. Yeah, the one you had to be on like nitrous to enjoy. So now he's like, "I don't want to do this anymore. So that I'm gonna set you up to make you look like an asshole." And then in the meantime, there's like a fucking side plot where race mobsters are gonna put an Asian kid's hand in a jar of piranhas because he's either winning or not winning enough.
Well, this is the thing with the economy is not only are they manipulating the stock market via F-Zero races, but they're also fixing the races to make money on the other end of it too.
Yeah, it's kind of like Bricktop in fucking Snatch. Help me out. Snatch. He's just all over the board, just trying to make his money. So now Racer X and the FBI, or the equivalent in this dimension, are like
Inspector Detector.
Inspector Detector.
It sounds like a toy
it sounds like a toy you would buy your children. It's just like a bag of like magnifying glasses. I don't know. And
there's this comic book called The Black Hammer, and there's this bug character that's a detective, and his name is Inspector Insector, which I thought was really hilarious.
Do you remember when they sold us all those like fucking fingerprint kits to ruin your parents' living room when we were kids? Spy tech.
The fucking the mirror on the stick and stuff, so you can look around the corner. Yeah, that didn't work. Because now he's a shiny mirror poking out from around the corner. So now, Inspector Detector and Racer X have convinced Speed Racer to team up with I forget it was Tomaga or whatever. Every company has a racer, and that's what their financial fortunes are based on. So
again, the entire economy of this universe is 100% based on racing.
Right. So now they're going to do the cross country race that killed Rex Racer, and Speed sneaks away from his family to go do this.
The safety protocol. It's something hilarious. It was his Safedo goop or something.
It was like that foam putty stuff
from Demolition Man.
Yeah, it had a funny name though, because Speed Racer says it. I was like, oh my god.
So Racer X and Speed Racer defend this kid through this cross country Gumball 3000-esque, where they're fighting all sorts of themed villains. There's a Viking squad, and there's an army squad. There's a guy who's made of snakes, and they do all this racing, and they get to the end. And the kid wins, so now his family's company stock goes up, and they don't have the Edgerton harsh buyout or whatever.
He has a publicly traded family.
Yeah, and then it becomes a huge swerve, because all that dude wanted to do was get the price up, but then his sister's like, "Hey, that was a dick move. Sorry about that. Here's our invitation to the Grand Prix, so then you can expose this, and then I guess vis-a-vis winning the race, bring the entire economy to the ground.
Yeah, because the kid didn't actually want to race in the Grand Prix. He just wanted to get the stock price up.
Did you already skip
He
the
didn't care
ninjas?
about racing anymore.
I think you missed the ninjas.
Oh, right, but I guess during the cross-country race, one of the legs, because it's like multiple days, Pops and them show up, and they give him what for, but then ninjas show up, and then, like, the entire racer family demonstrates their knowledge of, like, martial arts by just throwing everyone all flibbity gibbets
Pops
around.
like legit
Ninjas.
murder
More like
ninjas.
ninjas. It's a shame what passes for ninjas these
Yeah,
days.
Pops Racer's an absolute unit in this film.
Also, there's a weird reference to the anime Berserk at the beginning of the movie.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. I noticed that. And that weird, they're like the Spritle and Chim Chim are watching a cartoon, and it cuts to this weird animated sequence.
They are watching like a French version of what an anime would look like. It looks like something out of Heavy Metal or one of those magazines.
Yeah, and it's like a weird like Berserk / like Fists of the North Star.
I think it's called the Immortal Blade of Berserko.
Yeah, I think that's correct. So now we get to the Grand Prix, and we're about, an hour and 30 minutes into this thing. And now we're into our 4th race or our 8th race, who knows. Everyone's racing, and it's a spinning-based race where you just want to get your car spinning as much as possible.
Well, it's a neat trick.
Yeah, and everyone's got pogo sticks on their car. Those are legal, but everything else isn't. Speed Racer kills, 12 people over the course of this race.
Fucking dead. Like, don't give me that foam bullshit.
Yeah, he knocks people out like Batman does. These people are fucking donezo. So he kills all these people. He then his car gets kaputted, but then he remembers how to like drop it into 5th and then unfuck its brains.
He doesn't remember. He listens to the car. The car tells him.
That's what it was.
Because the mechanic's like, I don't know, and Pops is like, that's what you got to do. Well, will Speed know that? It's like, I don't know, but then the Mach 5
just says,
psychically tells him, drop it.
Yeah, he also says, "Oh, get that weak shit off my track," and then he says, "That was weak." It's like,
I loved the first line. Did not love the second one.
No, they didn't need that button.
But at some point, he gets spear hooked by Steve Thunderball McQueen or whatever, and then he does a barrel roll and then shows the world that the guy's cheating, which is pretty plainly obvious. And then why is this cheating? I guess we brought up earlier when everything else isn't cheating, and then Speed becomes the president.
In these races, I don't think you were allowed weapons. You're allowed to hit people, but you weren't allowed the cross country race, which actually was across 3 continents.
Yeah.
In that race, you were allowed to have weapons. It was unsanctioned, anything goes. In the actual racing league, I think you were allowed to rub as hard as you wanted, but you couldn't actually use offensive weapons.
But the jumper bits were legal, right? The little
that's not a weapon.
That's not a weapon. That's just jumping around.
That's just jumping around, baby. So
brutally do, as God likes to say.
So then Speed Racer wins everything, becomes king, and Edgerton or Lord Shadowton, I forget what his real name is, Briarton. His whole company, I guess, gets repossessed by the federal government, and that's socialism.
Yeah, it turns into a Chinese nightmare dystopia.
And that's Speed Racer, and it's it's not. What I missed?
You forgot the Racer X reveal, the best.
Oh yeah, and then Racer X. So Racer X, who has clearly been his brother the entire time, takes off his helmet. Says, "I'm not your brother," and then swerve, he is his brother.
Yeah, because it ends smoking aces.
Yeah, he got his face. He got his face ever so slightly altered to look like Matthew Fox.
Right. Kept the voice, though.
Kept the voice. And now that guy is off to, I don't know, I guess, dethrone other despots. I don't know what his next move will be.
I did appreciate about the movie that they recapped the entire movie in 30 seconds during the last race, because I was already so overloaded, and I've seen this before, that I could not remember what happened.
I think they recapped the movie no less than 4 times during the movie. Like, there's a lot of, like, that happened and then this happened.
I always complain about that, but it's really necessary in this movie.
This movie was jarring visually. Like hey, I was sitting there like, just like, I don't feel good about this in the least. Like, there's too many, like that scene where they talk about in Taken, where Liam Neeson jumps a fence and there's like 26 cuts, has nothing on. I think they were averaging 2 cuts a second in some parts.
It's not only jarring visually, but it's just jarring like narratively too, because they're just yelling at you the whole movie. But like it's like I don't know what the hell's going on, but they're very noisy about it.
Instead of editing it, they just pick random stage select 1,000 times in a row, because it just kind of throws shit together however it feels like.
Right.
But I did want to mention briefly, there's this like really beautiful scene transition where one of the race cars is fighting a truck, and it spins around and they go at each other and it turns into this like ladies fucking Snowblood. Or is that what the fuck movie's called? Yeah. Or it turns all red and white, and it's like just this really bizarre transition that shouldn't be in the movie, but kind of rules.
Yeah, that was kind of cool.
And these poor cars get the ever living shit kicked out of them. Like, Speed Racer ends the race like doing like a nose grind across the
tires are melting.
Yeah, the tires are. I actually kind of liked that part. Like he went so hard, the tires are literally melting. I was like, and the car kind of like just like settles in and dies like Dumbo's mom. I'm like, okay, this is pretty.
Well, after it settles in and dies after he goes to the Jupiter and Beyond the Infinite part of 2001, and the whole world
that part was also. I was like, this movie, like this race just ends in a fucking Willy Wonka tube. I was like, there's too much happening here.
Alec, did you think there was too much happening or not enough happening?
Both.
Yeah, right.
Like, visually, there was too much happening. Coherence-wise, there was not enough.
No, yeah.
I had this, like, I watched this movie in, like, 3 settings. I was telling Stacy last night when I finished it after my 3rd attempt, like, this might be one of the hardest movies I've ever had to rate on this show.
Yeah, it's like it's so busy. Like, I can't tell you if anybody's good in it, because like you know what I mean. Like, I can't. It's like challenging to watch this movie.
I think I can legitimately say that Christina Ricci's good in this movie. She's the only one.
The part at the end of the I guess it was the rally race. The part at the end of that, when like he's, I guess, approaching the finish, and it's going like showing all the announcers going fucking ape shit. Like I was like getting legit like a little fired up. I was like, fuck yeah, go Speed Racer, go. Like, but man, the first half of this movie, a lot happens, but it is boring as fucking shit.
I'm just gonna put it out on Front Street. The biggest problem I had with this movie is its length. It is way too long. Like,
it is incredibly long for like a movie that it is.
This movie needs to be 90 minutes long, and it would probably get a lot higher score for me.
But
because,
it's weird though, because it's really long, but it's not like slow. So they just keep you get like your brain boils over because they just like keep throwing all this epilepsy shit at you for 2.5 hours straight.
I think this movie could have benefited honestly from being in 2 parts. It could have been rally, like seriously, the rally race. It could have ended with the rally race and that betrayal, and then the second movie is the Grand Prix setup and all that.
Do you think this is like a fucking Jupiter Ascending thing where they had a 4-movie thing planned and they just jammed it all into one?
I was just about to say that. Isn't the Jupiter Ascending like screenplay like 600 pages long or something? Yeah.
It's 3 movies that they just like mushed together.
This could be that. It feels like they're just trying to get so much in. It's like, don't.
So you guys have seen the show, and I guess Sean kind of mentioned this earlier. Like this felt like the entire arc of the entire show just jammed.
But this show is
but with all the neon shit like added because
The show
show's not-
does not have like a narrative structure.
No, it's like
It's
a monster of the week, but with cars.
Yeah. It wasn't like you had to follow it for seasons to understand the lore.
Yeah.
It was
No,
just the same thing every week. And like probably a lot of the same like bad guys, just palette swapped.
Yeah.
It was nice and cheap. Was this an American show?
No, Japanese.
No. It's TJ mentioned the actual name. It's like Mach Go 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 or some shit.
Machagogo.
Yes.
Machago. They even do it in the movie. They
But he's-
play
Yeah.
the original theme song.
But
the
Speed
Japanese
Racer's
theme song.
his Japanese name is like Go Mifune or something like that.
I think it's just Go. I think it's yeah.
Honestly, Go's a better name than Speed.
Machagogo. But yeah, I also do love when they talking about the show. So the show has a very like, I think people, even if you've never seen the show, you've probably seen that Speed Racer like pose,
Yeah.
and like they actually do the fucking pose in the movie. Like he falls out of his car. The car is presumably going, I don't know, about 600 miles an hour.
Yeah.
He jumps out of the car. This is what Gogs was talking about earlier. He jumps out of the car. It looks like a weird, like, Tim and Eric, like, cross-cut, like, weird, like, thing. And he does his pose, which I loved. I thought that was
This movie also has probably the most out of place hard R in any movie that I've ever seen, where it's just in the
Yes.
beginning, one of the little kids, I was like, whoa, what?
yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, 5 Knuckle Shuffle time.
Oh, this is gonna be tough.
It's gonna be a tough one.
Nope. It's not gonna be tough at all.
Gogs.
6. It's bright and colorful. It was almost a 4, but it's a 6. Like, there's something about the last race I found compelling. It's too long. It's too busy. Everyone's okay in it. Christina Ricci's good in it. I'll give Pops Racer. He's pretty good in it. Emil Hirsch, he's mid. It's fine. It's just...
I wish we could trade him and Anton Yelchin.
Oh god, Anton Yelchin in this movie. All of a sudden,
Yeah.
this might be an 8.
I feel like it should get a point bump just for Matthew Fox not being like the worst thing on earth in the movie.
He's kind of great in the movie.
Yeah.
But like,
he's perfectly fine in the movie.
Being monotone and weird. It's like
He's basically a
role I was born to play, baby.
Yeah, it's like Orlando. It's like how Orlando Bloom's a really good, like, emotionless elf. Like, oh, okay, that tracks. No, it's like it is ultra busy. There's just I like busy. I love busy. I live for busy, and this is too busy for Gogs. Put it out on the box.
Would you say it's busy?
Let's get busy. Yeah,
busy.
Ike Eisenhower has issues with this movie. No, it's a 6 through and through. It's too visually appalling to be a 5. But I will remember it, and I didn't hate it, but I did not care for it, and it could be half an hour shorter.
Yeah.
I
TJ.
think it could be an hour shorter, to be honest.
Oh, that'll only be an hour and 15 minutes, and it wouldn't be a feature.
Yeah. It's a 6 for me, dog, I think. It's so funny. I don't know if I've ever seen a movie that danced on the razor's edge of 6 and 3. Like, because it's kind of terrible.
Yeah.
But it's so weird that it kind of overcomes its awfulness because it's absolutely committed to how weird it is. And
it's incredible. It's unique. You're never going to see anything like this.
And they're also you can write off they know what they're doing, right? Like they're making this. They want to make this weird ass live action cartoon, and they're committed to it. But they never stop and well, we don't need all this other stuff. Like all the Spritle and Chim Chim stuff. As much as I love it, is completely unnecessary.
If they could have just cut those two characters out, and this would have been a much better movie.
Entirely. But I loved them. And I also love the fact that Chim Chim is just a regular ass monkey. You know, it gets points for not being a CGI monkey.
Yeah, everything is fake, but the monkey.
Except the monkey, yeah. But it's hilarious. The physics of the racing doesn't make a lick of fucking sense. These cars are going, Mach 4, and they're able to spin, and the tracks are insane. And I do at one point, the like evil corporation dude has like a map of Earth, and you're like, oh, this takes place on Earth. It's like wild. But yeah, it's like a 6 though, because I mean, I can't go any higher than that. I don't think, because I think it was Sean. I think it was also Alec that said this movie is like hard to watch.
Yeah.
It is hard to watch. I don't know why. I think
there are parts where the track just turns into some kind of abstract painting. They just abandon physical form at points, and it's just a bunch of colors.
I'm probably only saying this because I'm sitting next to my bookshelf. What I can compare it to is that I read this book a long time ago, where the guy doesn't use any punctuation in the entire book. It's like one run, and it was hard to read because of that. And this is like the movie equivalent of that. Like it's just like there is like forms of filmmaking that they just totally abandon, and you never have like a chance to take a breath. It's just like it just goes and goes. I mean, I guess now that I think about it, I guess that is the point. But it is insane. Again, like, you know, we've all seen the like heroic, like, you know, you cut from the present, you cut back to his troubled childhood, and then. But I don't think I've ever seen it in like a scene going back and forth and back and forth and back. In the first 5 minutes of this movie, I was like, I'm gonna need some fucking water. Like, I don't know what the hell's going on.
It's like fucking Crisis on Infinite Earths, where everything is happening at the same time, and like dinosaurs are showing up next to spaceships.
That's a great comparison, but that it's a 6 for me, dog. Sean.
It's a 8 for me because, like, I think Gog said it before I could. There is nothing like this movie. Like, this is unlike anything you have ever seen. And, like, if they had just made a straight adaptation of the cartoon, this movie would be, like, powerfully boring.
Yeah.
And they were like, man, they're a cool company. They said, fuck it, cut them up. Like, it's just like...
So this movie gets like an Elephant Man bounce just for being the only thing that's ever been like this?
Yeah, well, you know me, it's like, I love an ambitious failure, and like, this movie fails on, like...
You love a big
not only
swing.
like... Yeah, not only on, like, movie levels, but just on, like... human understanding levels. Like, this movie is incomprehensible.
It's like a Cthulhu level movie. Like, it's like
brain. It's like a fucking like a neo-cubist thing where you can look at it at any angle and it doesn't make any sense. Like, but it's still a thing unto itself. Like, I just like. This is more of this is like possibly the most experimental movie ever made. Like, I don't even know how to fucking classify it. Like, it's...
And it was a big budget, like, studio movie.
And it lost its ass, and like...
Tremendous flop.
Yeah, it's like... What? I don't know what happened. I remember like 2 lines from it where I thought the kid said coochie, but he said cooties. It is like a mess in like the most like grand sense of the word mess.
I was reading up on it on the Wikipedia, and they're talking about how it's a flop, and they're like, it had a 4-quadrant budget and a postage stamp audience. I was like, God,
bro, this movie is your cell phone cable junk drawer full of cocaine. Like, I don't know. It's just shit's going everywhere. It's all tangled up, but like this piece probably does something and this goes somewhere, and like I don't fucking know, but like it is not boring in the traditional sense. There are parts of it that are boring, but it is boring in wholly unique ways, and fast boring, which is a weird, like, I don't know, like it is not bad in the way that movies we watch typically are bad. It is bad in spectacularly unique ways, and I think its horrendousness is a testament to the human spirit. Like, because what in the fuck is this? But yeah, like, I can't recommend this to literally anybody that wants to keep their brain intact, but like, if you've seen everything, man, you want to swim in some deep water, watch fucking Speed Racer, because it will fucking ruin you.
Yeah, I wonder what this movie would be like watching this movie fucked up. It would probably
don't. You would die.
I thought about it for half a second, but I was like,
could you imagine being on mushrooms watching this? Like, literally, you would kill your whole family.
Yep.
Like, I don't know, man. Like, this is like, if this was like, this is humanity's last gasp, like when like everybody's brains finally rotted and this is all we made. Like, okay, that makes sense. It's a fitting capstone to cinema because it's just every movie at once. and it never stops, and then it's over, and now we're talking about it. So, who's left? Alec.
This movie is a 5, but not not in the traditional sense. not in our traditional sense.
Right.
The first half, like I've been trying to sitting here listening to Sean, trying to come up with terms like his big smart word terms, like it's
Coochie.
engagingly boring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the first half of this movie. Like I was out. Like I couldn't pay attention because there's too much going on, and also didn't give a shit. And it was boring, but not in the sense where I was bored. I just I couldn't. It's very hard to describe.
It's boring
there's
in that way that
there's too much going on to focus on anything, so you just kind of like tune it out a little bit. You're just like, I can't even right now.
It's boring in the way that like a complex math class that you have to take is boring because it's like a lot of shit going on, but you have to fucking know this by the end of it, and you're like, oh man, this is too many numbers. Like I can't.
It's like a complex math class that you didn't have the class prior. You just kind of dropped into it.
You went straight from algebra to statistics.
Yeah. You gotta. He'll figure it out.
So I'm giving it a 5 because the first half, like I was out. I was done. I was like, this is trash. Like I couldn't maintain, and I wasn't even going to finish it. I was just going to lie.
You probably could have got it, I'm sure.
Yeah, I couldn't fact check it.
But like the second half, like I don't know what changed. I don't know if like there's a gas leak in the house or I don't know. With the second half, I was like, I'm kind of into this, but I'm not into it enough to go back and rewatch the first half and see if I change my mind on that. But like I was into like the rally race and the Grand Prix and all the all the like the fans and everybody going absolutely fucking ape shit. Like I don't know how you can get actors to act so insane at something so fake.
Right. Yeah,
like it's like they just took a bunch of like soccer announcers and filmed them watching like Ronaldo, but just cut them out and just stitched them into this movie. Like there's nothing on earth that can get somebody that level of excited for something that doesn't directly involve them. Yeah. But even actors, but they were going fucking nuts. And I was like, you know what? I'm kind of into this. This is kind of awesome.
There's some parts too where they're not in vehicles or whipping around and they're just walking around those sets. It looks rough. It does not look very good.
But so I'm giving it a 5 because the first half was a 0 and the second half was a 10.
Wow.
So it doesn't get a 5 because I was bored or I'm going to forget about it. I'm definitely not going to forget this movie. But it gets a 5 just because the two halves, that's what they average out to.
Respect. So what's next?
I kind of would like to watch it again, but it's going to be a while. My brain can't process.
Oh no, you need to drink some tea. You need to take a few days, to gather your mental health.
You got to wait for like the cabin pressure to come back. It's like you took off at like Mach 4, and it's like I'm finally like getting back into like my body at this point.
Like I was an astronaut in one of those the
vomit comet.
Yeah. And like I'm just getting my sea legs or my land legs back. I gotta get back used to walking on dry land again before I can go back into space. We don't have a theme for next month.
I thought it was
is it July?
It is movies where people show up.
No, it was I thought it was Louis Gossett July.
Oh God.
Yeah. Louis Gossett July. All right.
I mean, really would have been better for Junior.
Yeah.
But
I mean, all right, do you have a pick, Gogs?
Oh, Iron Eagle.
Yeah. Which one?
1.
The first one? Okay.
Yeah. It was 1 or 3. I'm going 1.
I'm going to really take a deep dive into his filmography.
Yeah.
I mean, I got my pick already.
Yeah?
Is it also an Iron Eagle movie?
No. It's Digstown.
Ooh, hell yeah, that movie rules.
I haven't seen that in a long time. I saw it when I was young.
I got Enemy Mine. So
good one.
Shit. Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Damn, I gotta think about this. All right, so that's next week. Lewis Gossett July or however. I think July. We still got that in banks. That's just movies.
We did that already.
Did we really?
Like 3 years ago.
Oh,
Did
shit.
we?
I'm pretty sure. I don't keep track. I delete them once we hit the month, so I don't know. But I'm pretty sure we did. Like pre-pandemic.
All right. Well, y'all know the deal. Eat your own ass. Yeah. We're now on Spotify. If you're not listening to us on Spotify, you can find us on Spotify. Just search Movie the Podcast now. You don't have to worry about searching Mohole Radio.
And when you're on YouTube, Sean found out if you turn on the transcripts, it sounds like a lunatic typing.
Also,
It is
shout out
something else.
to the commenter on our Morbius review that just said, nice movie.
Iron Eagle is available on HBO Max.
Hey.
All right. All right, everybody. See you later.
Boys. Bye.
Macha God.